eharmony.com, match.com. Fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. You've heard of those dating sites, right? But have you heard of datacougar.com? Because I have. I've been encouraged to go on datacougar.com so many times, I'm terrified. It's the reason I refuse to go and get the glasses I need. I will not be a cougar. I refuse. However, I did stumble across an online dating site that a friend encouraged me to join called plentyoffish.com. Well, plentyoffish.com is named that for a couple of reasons. You see, a lot of the men on this site have what they call fishing parties. They hang out one night a week when most men are playing poker. They have a couple of drinks with their laptops and they go fishing. I call it shooting fish in a barrel. And the reason I call it that is because since I put myself on that site, I get between 3 and 5 emails a day during the week, and between 5 and 7 emails a day over the weekend. At first I thought, wow, my photo must be good. And then a friend asked me, Louise, what is your headline on this site? And I said, well, I'm trying to be fair. I'm just out of a very long-term relationship. I realize I'm not commitment material. I don't want a man to think that I am his next wife or the provider for his next children. So my headline reads as follows: no commitment seekers, please. And you thought the blonde was fake. I had no idea. These websites ask you to list a couple of things. One of the things is to place a headline, which I did, no commitment seekers, please. The other thing they ask you to do is to post a photograph. So I searched through my photographs and I posted what I thought was a very decent photograph. It is a headshot only photograph of me with my aunt. I've cropped out my aunt. I look happy. I'm having a good time. There's nothing of my body involved whatsoever. But apparently that photograph is somehow suggestive. And I don't understand why. It really is a very decent photograph. The other thing it asks you to do is to post a little bit about yourself. So I posted the things that I thought were important. What I do for a living, a couple of the things that I like, and a couple of the things that I do not like. That seems to go over perfectly fine. Then it asks you to post a couple of things that you might perhaps be looking for in a man. So I posted what I'm looking for in a man. A decent man with great humor, anywhere between the ages of 35 and 52. Ladies and gentlemen, please take a guess. What is the average age of gentlemen that I get emails from?
60.
22 to 25. 22 to 25. I get at least one email from a 22-year-old every day. I'd like to just let you know that my daughter turned 21 yesterday. 22-year-olds should not be contacting me. I do my best to ignore them. I do my best to send emails back saying, oh, you're as cute as a button, but you're way too young for me. I had somebody email me this weekend saying, he's a grad student at UCLA. I said, funny, so is my daughter. Want me to hook you up with her? Why are you emailing me? But I had one persistent young gentleman. I called him Persistent Brad. He was 25, and he emailed me, and emailed me, and emailed me. And no matter what I sent back to him in response, hey Brad, you're just way too young for me. I'm sure you will find some gorgeous younger girls. Eventually, I couldn't tolerate the emails anymore. So I sent him an email. I said, Brad, explain to me what it is about a 42-year-old woman that appeals to you. He sent me one word back. Experience. And I spent some time thinking about that, and I thought, he makes a good point. 42-year-old women know how to cook way better than 25-year-old women. 42-year-old women know how to calculate a tip on a restaurant check way quicker than a 25-year-old woman does. And perhaps most importantly, for the average 25-year-old, 42-year-old women know exactly what coupons to clip in order for him to save money. Right? Isn't that what all 25-year-olds are about? Saving money? Having a good meal? Apparently, I was way off the mark. The email he sent me back had nothing to do with cooking, tipping, or in any way coupon clipping. I was terrified. A large amount of emails that I get are from another genre, shall we say. I get a lot of emails from married men. I got a very well-written, beautifully constructed email from a gentleman a couple of weeks ago, and it began with this: in the interests of honesty. For those of you that are interested in online dating, when you start reading that, delete. Because this is what the rest of the email said. In the interests of honesty, I would like to let you know that I am in fact married. And I do have a fetish with massage. My wife refuses to allow me to massage her. So if you will provide the body and the location, I will provide the lotions and the best massage you've ever had in your life. I confess to spending 5 minutes going, while that's not a bad offer, I did turn it down. I got another email about 2 weeks ago. One-line email. Those are my favorite. I like reading those quick emails. The email read as follows: my wife and I find you delicious. I looked at my laptop and went, and I immediately emailed him back. Yeah, I'm not delicious, ... And I don't cook, so it's certainly not my food that you're talking about. I'm sorry, I don't think I'm the girl for you.
Oh my God.
You have no idea how many married men send me emails on a weekly basis. They're honest, they're upfront, they tell me they're married, and apparently there are women out there that are perfectly okay with that. A smaller percentage of the emails that I get are from women. I got a beautiful email about a month ago from a woman. My profile clearly states that I am interested in men only. I got a lovely email from a woman. She said, I'm in the area, I've just moved in, I'm looking for a companion. I thought, great, her profile says she likes to shop. I emailed her back. I said, it's lovely to meet you. What are you doing on the site? Are you having any luck? How are you enjoying the new area? She sent me an email back saying, you did notice on my profile that I'm interested in women, right? I said, actually, I didn't look at your profile. I looked at your email and I thought maybe you were looking for friendship. She emailed me back, I thought maybe you were curious. And I thought, curious about what? Great shopping malls in the area? Shoe swapping? I wonder what size she wears. Heck, we could maybe even trade clothes. Yeah, she was thinking along the same lines, just not quite what I was thinking. However, I must tell you that in this process, I have met a lot of good men. I've developed a really good screening process. It's very simple. If they misspell a word, they're done. If they use grammar incorrectly, they're deleted. If they ever use your and you are, the abbreviation of that, incorrectly, I send them back a scathing email. We are through before we even began. It's over. But I have met a series of really good, terrific, kind men who are looking for very similar things that I'm looking for. Somebody to go out with, somebody to get to know, an opportunity to sit over a drink, over a meal, and get to know somebody, and to be reminded that there are good people out there, really good people out there. Over the last couple of months, I have dated a paramedic. Come and save my life anytime. I've dated a firefighter. I've come to call him affectionately the smoking hot firefighter. Because he's a good-looking man. I've dated a homicide detective whose work schedule makes it interesting for us to go on subsequent dates, but whose stories make it an enormous amount of fun to sit across the table with him. I've dated a commercial realtor with seriously the biggest hands I've ever seen in my life. The first time he reached across the table for his drink, I literally did this. Whoa! But he's a good, kind gentleman. I've dated a software salesman. Truth be told, he was a lot younger than I anticipated, but he was very cute, very mature, and he spelled correctly, so I couldn't say no. I've dated a writer. I've dated a chef who loves the fact that I don't cook and don't think of myself as delicious in any way whatsoever. I've dated a law professor who terrifies me because he's way smarter than I am, and frankly, I find that unacceptable. I only want to date men who are not quite as smart as I am. I love to dominate a conversation, and he may have me beat. I have dated some really, really good men. But ultimately, every one of these men that I've been out with have not been for me. And then, about 2 months ago, something happened the old-fashioned way. A friend of mine brought a co-worker to a Toastmasters meeting. And she introduced this co-worker to me, and I went, oh dear, I'm turning into a girl. I suddenly wanted to flip my hair. And I wanted to say something cute, but I couldn't think of what to say cute. And I was completely freaking out, and every word that came out of my mouth, I would turn around and go, I cannot believe I just said that. And he was fabulous. We went out a few times, had some fun, got to know each other, realized that we shared so many things in common. And after about our third date, he walked me to my car, and then he kissed me. And I stopped breathing for what felt like a week. And we've been going out on these dates. We've been playing golf. He's a brilliant golfer. I'm a decent golfer, but I've been faking it. I've been asking him for tips left, right, and center. The other day, I accidentally let off a drive that went straight and narrow down that fairway, and I turned around and went, damn it! I'm not supposed to do that! I have been goofing up my shots for the last month. Why did I do that? It was an accident! It was an accident! And I made myself promise that I would never do that again. I'm a genius putter. But every time I'm on the putting green, I stand there and go, does this look right? I'm turning into a girl! Because I love the way he comes and stands next to me and corrects my hands and makes sure that I've got it correctly. I actually once stood there with one hand on my putter and said, does this look right? Because I thought it might actually mean that he'd come and stand behind me and correct my hands and show me how to do it correctly. This is not me! On these dates, we've realized that we enjoy a lot of things. We share a lot of interests in common. He loves rock climbing. Who likes to rock climb besides me? I found somebody who enjoys doing that. He loves hiking. He loves traveling. He lived in Africa for a while. For the South African in me, that's just straight up hot. He wants to go back to Africa, and give back to the community and work in some kind of a giving back environment, like an AIDS orphanage. He told me this before I told him that I had promised myself, once I got my son off to college, I was going to go back to South Africa and start an AIDS orphanage. He likes camping, which I'm trying to forgive him for, because that's just not my thing. But he guarantees me that once he takes me camping, I will absolutely love every second of it. We have a very, very competitive streak, which means that our dominoes playing gets a little vicious sometimes. And I've lost a couple of bets that I'm not thrilled about, one of which involves cooking. I have to cook for him at some point this week, and that terrifies me, but I'm willing to do that. However, we are both newly out of relationships, and he told me a couple of weeks ago that he absolutely, under no circumstances, wants to be my rebound relationship. This gentleman told me that he's willing to wait until I have finished my dating and have somebody else be the rebound relationship, because in 6 months' time when he asks me to marry him, he wants to be able to ask me politely to stop dating. So guess what? I'm getting my cake and eating it too. I'm a fabulous man that I see 3 or 4 times a week and I still get to date. He recently became the president of our Toastmasters Club, one of the other clubs that I belong to. And every now and then, I get the opportunity to call him Mr. President. And every now and then, he insists that I call him El Presidente. Which I thoroughly enjoy doing. So in this entire process, I have learned some fabulous lessons. After a very long marriage, after an extraordinarily painful breakup, I have learned that if you look hard enough, there are some extraordinarily good men out there. I have also learned that sometimes when you press the issue, when you do things like online dating, and you spend all day and all night sending out emails and receiving emails and trying to find the correct words to respond to those, that might not be the best way to get to know somebody. Great experiences. I'm not kidding you. Smoking hot fireman is smoking. Smoking. I told him the other day I'm planning on setting a fire at my house just so that he can come and smoke. But he's not right for me. It's not the kind of man I'm looking for. If we are very careful, if we learn that sometimes things have to happen organically, they sometimes do. But most importantly, what I have learned through this entire process, guests, this is for you. Don't think you're coming to Toastmasters to learn how to speak. You get everything at this organization. I realized this afternoon when I was making notes, I'm making notes on the back of a Toastmaster flyer. Toastmasters is helping me recycle, but most importantly, Toastmasters is helping me meet extraordinary, fabulous, good people, both men, both women, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Mr. Toastmaster.